the Clippers. Last night they lost to the Philadelphia 76ers, 121-107, and they are 5-5 in their last 10 games. I think the Clippers is this. Now, I'm not I mean, I'm saying I'm too worried, but they're really showing the same signs that they usually show. And as far as them not taking games serious, blowing leads, getting down early, and then we already have the quotes from the locker room when we lost our way. And, you got T. Lue up here. And T. Lue, for the most part, says the right thing in press conferences. But going up there admitting that you don't know what's going on, that's not the best look for this team. And I kind of feel like they're coming to a point in their growth as a team over these 5 years in the PG Kawhi Leonard era, which is this year has been the healthiest they've been. And Harden has actually, for the most part, been hooping the way he's hooped. But if they don't get something done to the point where I feel if they don't get at least to the conference finals, it's going to be disappointing. And if you look at how it lines up right now, they be playing New Orleans in the first round. New Orleans is playing good basketball, 8-2 in their last 10. Won the last 2 games. Zion looks like he lost a little bit of weight, and he's just been on a fucking tear. This is a team that already had a hard time playing against New Orleans to begin with. It's just a bad matchup, and you don't want to have to face them in the first round, and then you go home in the first round. Now, Pav, you were at the game yesterday. You've been at these last couple games. What do you think is a possibility that they could be going home, before the second round starts?
I mean, I think it's a real possibility because if you look at what he said, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not looking at it right now, but I looked yesterday. I think the Pelicans are 1 game back at him. If I'm not mistaken,
half game.
It's like half game, and the Suns are how many games back?
Suns are 2.5.
Exactly. So you don't want to get in a situation where you keep losing games, and then let's say you jump over the Pelicans, or let's say the Suns keep winning games, and let's say you end up playing the Suns first round. I don't want to play Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal, especially some team that they've been figuring it out more. Even the Pelicans, I think that they will win that series. But with the way Zion's been playing, I know Bi got hurt, but with the way Zion's been playing, you still have Valanciunas, you still have CJ, you have guys that can score. My only thing with the Clippers, well, a couple of things that worry me with the Clippers. One, obviously, Russell Westbrook broke his hand, so he hasn't been there. And I think you do see the effects of not having Russell Westbrook. Just his energy permeates through the team, and when it's not there, there's nobody on the court that can do what Russ does. He's the fastest person. He's his energy is just completely infectious. He gets to the basket, puts his head down. There's so many times this season where it was 91-91 early in the fourth, and Russ comes in and he's a spark plug that gets them the league, and then they ride that to victory. Also, I think they have too many cooks in the kitchen, meaning I think they have too much talent. Even when they were going on this run, I think Plumlee was hurt. They had Plumlee was hurt. Bones Highland just wasn't playing. They had Tuck wasn't playing. What you see now is they have so much talent that all those guys could warrant playing, and they're trying to play them now. I think they did last game against the Sixers. First half, Tice was a backup center. Second half, Plumlee was a backup center. Now, to be fair, neither one of them played good. So I think you were probably trying to find something that works. But I think you got to just stick with something so guys know what their roles are coming in, night out. And again, everybody just can't play. It's unfortunate, but everybody can't play. Next thing is there was a play yesterday in which I know even Braun was talking about this on his pod with JJ Redick about how out of TOs when people mess the play up, it completely annoys him because we just went over it. There was a play in which Ty Lue called a timeout. Now, mind you, this wasn't a half-court set. It was a full-court set. Call a timeout. They bringing the ball up full court. They end up getting a 3-second violation. How do you get a 3-second violation off of OTA, which I assume you had a set play? And it wasn't even the center that got the violation. It was Paul George. To me, that's either a lack of focus, a lack of execution. And again, there's a couple key words that Ty and even Kawhi has used, and even PG has used. PG said, we lack a identity.
And that's
it's
trouble.
Fucking March. And trouble. All y'all 35. Yeah. Fuck you mean you lack an identity? Y'all should have figured that out a long time ago. And then Ty keep talking about mental toughness.
Yeah, that's not some shit you want to hear when we 3 weeks away from the play.
No, look. If you were coaching the Rockets, I would feel you. Because all of this ain't even on time because, again, you talking about a veteran-led team. You talking about guys who going straight to the Hall of Fame, guys who done made playoff runs before, guys who done been there for 14 years. Talking about mental toughness. We don't have a identity. Kawhi yesterday said, oh, we just not playing hard. Now, granted, I know it's March. It's the dog days of the season. You may be looking forward towards playoffs, but those are all things that trouble me. And two last things I'll say.
I just want to say this real quick, G, but that's the thing. That's the problem. Like, they're too much of a veteran team. They've fumbled so many times that you can't have that mentality of let's just get to the playoffs. And that's something that the Lakers can do. Even though they're in the play-in, they've been there before. That's the problem.
And two last things I'll say. Two other issues that they have is, one, they're kind of old and slow. So transition defense is always going to be a problem. And for whatever reason, they get moments in the game where they just turn the ball over too much. And they physically can't get back with some of these younger teams because they're just old and slow. And the last thing I'll say is I love James Harden, but they have a really hard problem guarding quick guards. Cameron Payne, first of all, I shout out Tyrese Maxey, all-star, but there's no way Cameron Payne should have done what I saw Cameron Payne do yesterday. They literal hard problem guarding guards, and I think in the playoffs, when the I don't want to say when the game slows down, but when a team schemes for you 7 times in a row, they're going to make James Harden guard somebody, and I think that can spell trouble.
TPJ, man, what you think about the Clippers? What's your worry level for them?
Yeah, so I won't necessarily say that I agree with everything Pavi says. I won't necessarily say that I disagree with what he says. I don't really care too much in regards to like these whole conversations about identity, because the Clippers have never had an identity. Their identity was what they told me at Media Day, I think 3 seasons ago, that they were trying to eventually get to an all 5 wing lineup. And what you see is that they try to run these small ball wing, small ball guard lineups, and they don't work. Let's just talk about some stats for the Clippers. The Clippers' offensive rating is actually 4th in the league at 119.7. But if you look at the points that they average as a team, they're 12th in the league in scoring, 116.5. They're also 20th in the league in assists per game. This boils down to what I will agree with Pavi is when we talk about the system. James Harden said he is the system. Me and Pavi said on an old episode of Hoops and Brews that system is like Windows 2000, Windows 2005. It's old, it's outdated. It needs to be gone. Pavi talks about this bench and this team being so talented. I don't agree with that. I actually think Ty Lue's rotations need to get a lot shorter. They should be more like 7, 8-man rotations. Pavi literally tweeted during the game yesterday that he thought Daniel Tice shouldn't. He might not play for the rest of the season. So when I'm looking at these guys, they brought in a lot of guys that have talent. But if you're going to rank 22nd in the league in rebounding, 18th in the league in defensive rebounding, 22nd in the league in offensive rebounding, be 20th in the league in assists, you're not a good basketball team. And I've said this all year long. They not going to fool me again. I've been covering them for 5 years now. You're not going to fool me again. I need is everybody going to be there if Game 7 happen? If they not, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about Russ might come back. I don't want to hear about none of this. They all low-key limping into the playoffs. And the same thing is going to happen as always. Somebody going to get hurt, and everybody that's a Clippers fan going to be like, man, well, next year we got a stadium. Whoop-de-fucking-do. Like, I want to see them. They either win, like, I'd actually just win. Like, I'm tired of it, bro. It's been 5 years of being like, yo, these guys can be very, very good. And they don't even really try hard. This man, James Harden out there trying to block Kawhi Leonard's shot. Like, could you imagine on that Doc Rivers team like 5 years ago with all those gritty guys that was on that team, James Harden trying to block a Lou Will jumper and them missing it? Even if they was up 20, they would have all been looking at him like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, do you want to win or do you want to play games? And that's really what it boils down to for the Clippers. And I'm going to say this. Ty Lue might not make it past May.
Yeah.
Because if they get eliminated in any of these early rounds, he has been the common denominator over the past 4 years. And as Doc said when he got fired after they lost to the Mavericks, and Ty Lue got hired, Ty Lue was in that locker room and in them huddles too. And what we seeing is very Doc Rivers-ish happening for the Clippers. So to me, if you're not going to rebound and you're not going to pass the ball, you're going to lose. You're old, you're slow. I pray for him.
Yeah, and like you said too, the Ty gets a lot of love, and rightfully so. But you gotta get the blame too when shit don't go well. This has been the healthiest season they've had. They started off really good. They started off bad when they first got Harden. How they was able to get everybody back together and get back on that winning track, and even having the #1 seed for a little bit he got to take some blame as well. And if you're Ballmer and you're trying to bring it into a new stadium, which the allure of that stadium is not going to last long because it's the Clippers, number one, and number two, because if you're not fucking winning, nobody going to care anyway. You're just going to have a big-ass, nice stadium with empty seats in that motherfucker. So you're not going to want to bring in a coach who I believe is Western Conference Finals a bust. You have to get in there. And none of this actually, like, shocks me, but where I saw it, what to me would confirm what I was seeing was the LeBron and Laker comeback that the three of us was in the building for that, how quickly that thing turned. And to me, it's just been a shit show ever since. You can't have a non-Embiid team, a team that has been struggling since Embiid got hurt, coming in and just kick your ass. Like, you just can't allow things like that. Dante, what you think about what you're seeing from the Clippers and, you know, what should happen to Ty Lue if this thing, you know, doesn't go to White Ray?
I think at the end of the day, he will be the one to fall on the sword at first. I know simply because we keep mentioning that stadium, they're gonna want to sell tickets. So if they do fall short again, I think the players will be the last to go. Or you see any major reshuffling of the deck simply because he's gonna try to put as many seats as possible. Now that you can't lean back on the fact that you share a building with the state with the Lakers, so at least you know y'all playing in LA live and you get that type of foot traffic and things like that. So I think more than anything, it's going to be important for Ty to get to at least the Western Conference Finals with this team. But with all the problems that you all pointed out, I do think it's not going to go the way that they wanted it to. It's all going to depend on the matchups. The teams that they're running into, like we said, are like a lot of running gun teams are going to get out and press them and force them to run. And that's something that, despite what we've seen over the years from them, you know, especially because for years, both both Kawhi and Paul have hung their hat on defense. You know, now they older, so you know it takes a little more time for them to do their thing. So I think it's all going to come down to the matchups. But unfortunately, I do think Ty Lue is going to be the one to end the first domino to fall in any changes that happen with the Clippers.
That paper on these player haters, old news, money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna.